Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe! Heyo and welcome in today. Welcome to the stream. This is my page here, YouTube page. Welcome to my YouTube videos. Here I kind of paint and chat about some topics sometimes. Sometimes I have guest artists in, other times I am painting some certain topic like a 90-minute art challenge. I've done, some drawings here and there where I just sit there and draw certain animals. Also, here on my channel I have weekly tips, so, welcome in. Thanks for coming in today. Uh, Now, today's topic, I wanted to talk to you guys about, um, you know, preparing and dealing with busy schedules. Kind of a topic that I have covered in some of my videos, and certain topics around that kind of whole scheduling and dealing with a busy schedule, dealing with being busy and working and always constantly having things to do, and also uh, kind of biting off more than you can chew, having so much work that you can't kind of deal with it all. I've definitely have experienced that, and I have kind of knowledge that I can share with you about that kind of topic to get the most done, and prepare for things, prepare for when it's going to be busy, because sometimes as kind of freelancers, and also in studios and things like that, there is kind of slow periods sometimes, where you get to work on kind of a lot of your free work and the work you just do for fun, and then there's really tough periods where you're just working on things, and that happens with like me being a content creator. There is busy times where I am just kind of getting ahead of working on these pieces, and doing um, weekly tips, just keeping up with that. And then there are kind of slower periods where I'm kind of up on top of everything, which doesn't happen often now. um, but I'm on top of everything. I've got all the kind of videos there, all sussed, and I'm just slowly chugging along painting, and not a lot going on. Or time when I do have a lot more time to do things, like for instance this long weekend for a whole 4 days to kind of do my weekly tips, to do my stream, to get um, my video up, and also to keep painting on this piece, and a lot more to do, so I do have a fair bit of time this weekend to get things done. I'm halfway there already, but I've nearly done my weekly tips, and I'll probably start on next week's weekly tips. Probably just give the reference, maybe one or two drawings off of it, um, but and that will get me maybe nearly 3 weeks ahead, so that gives me um, a little bit of a leeway, as well as working on the next page as well, which is kind of important to keep up on top of that too. Um, yeah, and so I do have experience, as well as courses that I've done, where I've had so many classes and things to keep up on top of things. Um, so, but, we'll start with the first one, which is um, preparing for a busy schedule. There's only so much you can do, um, to prepare for you having a really busy period. Um, I mean, first off, if you just kind of start into it, not knowing that it's going to be so busy and you're going to have maybe 20 illustrations to do and um, 3 videos to create and all this stuff that you got to do um, or want to do sometimes. Um, you don't know how busy it's gonna get. Like if for instance, if you start a course or something, um, or a kind of online course or something, and you don't know that entails you doing like full on, illustrations, and it's got to be due in and on this date. You don't fully know what you're in for yet. Um, it can be very challenging to prepare for. There is things you can do though. Definitely to prepare for those things, make sure that you have like all the materials um there ready to go, so you're not having to go out and hunt for them and get things ready. For instance, if you know that you've got a course or you are doing some sort of character design work for someone or something, um, that you have, some maybe a book or two on character design, in your little library, or, some videos about character design. Maybe you've done some previous character design stuff, just doing all that stuff, preparing for it. Have some knowledge ready there, have some um, interesting references that you found about character design, um, and those things. Having all that ready for you is a good start. If you get all that stuff there, um, that gives you a starting point. And it's really good to have that kind of starting point there, um, because it can kind of save you a little bit of time there. I always do it for like my weekly tips, with my weekly tips, each week, usually a couple of days in advance at least. Sometimes it can be the night before, um, you know, and that I have the reference there. A week before, a couple of days before, I have the reference all set up, so I can just draw um, from my reference, straight away. I don't have to find my references. I know my references and I know what I'm going to be drawing. Um, either kind of a few days before, a week before, I have all my reference there, all sorted, all sussed, and it's all there for when I start doing my weekly tips, drawing, video, recording, and all that stuff that I do for it. And having that there all prepared really does help because, being during, it's during on the Wednesdays, obviously, that's when it comes out, the Wednesday night. Um, that knowing that means the Sunday I don't have to be like, oh, I'm figuring out what I'm going to draw and then like rush around in the last hour of Sunday trying to get this drawing all done, um, and doing that weekly tips and getting all that recorded, that Sunday night. It's definitely helpful to have my references there, and it's all prepared all there, so the Sunday night whatever rolls along, I'm just sitting there drawing from the reference. I don't have anything to gather from, and as well as like setting up um, your equipment, your materials, even your Photoshop files. If you set up kind of a documents and stuff that are ready for you to start drawing from, um, you know, then that's kind of a good starting point, um, to have, or all your pens and pencils if you're a traditional artist, um, all your pencils, paintbrushes, your paints, have them all like set up. I think that was a good thing when I was doing color pencil drawings, is that you know I would I would never put away kind of my pencils um before I was finished a piece. I would kind tidily I'd put them away tidily basically. I would maybe they'll still be like all over my desk or something where I was working, but they would be out of my way so that I could still do the other stuff I was doing at the time. When I was having a break, or um, just kind of maybe doing some other drawing project or some other project that I was working on. But my color pencils were all still there. I didn't put them away. If they were mine, if they were, because at our course we had a whole one big set and we had kind of share them. So, you know, uh, I think we only had one set. I was always like with them most of the time, but if I had to give them up, I had to give them up, and I slowly built up my own set so that I had my own colors to draw from, rather than the class, always having to see read, watch color, and all that stuff. So, it's always fun like that. So getting your own is really good, but just send them up, have your paints for there. If you kind of, with some paints, you do have to obviously look after your brushes and that kind of thing. Um, but having say a water there ready to go, and your paintbrush kind of there ready to go, all cleaned the next day, and having your paints kind of all there and all out is really good. If you kind of put them all away and um, you know every time, and it's good to clean your brushes, everything like that, clean them and everything, um, and put them away in like drawers and everything, um, in very tidily, all this stuff. Then, the next time you come back to it, you have to then go into that drawer and get the colors out, and everything like that. Pick the colors you need, then put it on your palette, and then, get the water. You've all this prep work to do. And it's the same for digital work, getting your files out, getting your references out, finding the files, finding your references, putting them all into um, your files that you need them in to start drawing. It's the same for digital. So having all that a little bit of prep work, and it's only, you might feel it's only a little bit, but if you do that little bit of work, that you know it's still, if you get those little things done, it still saves you a lot of time in the end. um, References for me might only take me you know uh, 10 minutes to find, 10-20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, half an hour to find, then 5 or 10 minutes to gather them all together and put them in a document, and then set up the document. But that's when you're busy, that's 20 minutes you've saved, um, in your time schedule there. So that, 20 minutes for me is really valuable, because, if it's 20 minutes for me, within the weekend or something, um, that's usually 20 minutes where I can't really start painting because I know that I'll get disturbed, or I can sometimes get painting, but not as well. But it's 20 minutes that I can just sit down and do that. Um, and it saves me time when I do get the time, the hour and a half that I have at night. it doesn't cut into it, so I do have that whole hour and a half where I chillax and paint, um, and just illustrate stuff. Just do my painting, do my weekly tips, whatever I need to get done. I don't have to worry about my references then. Same with doing some some of those mundane tasks like checking emails and um all those things. When you're busy, it gets really challenging to keep up with emails and to keep up with all those mundane things like social media and all those things. So, you know, same with those, getting those out of the way, um, before, getting everything, making sure kind of your plate's completely clean, everything you have, you've kind of completed, and then, it gets much easier to keep up with, what you need to do. And that's how I've done it for this channel. That's how I've done it for quite a while now. It's still, obviously, it is challenging and things change over time. I find um, new solutions every time to this constant battle. Getting like weekly tips done every week is always challenging, but I'm slowly, like, it feels like I'm getting faster at it sometimes. Sometimes it does feel like real slow some weeks of doing the weekly tips. Same with doing these paintings I'm doing now. Some weeks it feels like it takes forever for me to just get an hour and a half done. Other weeks I've got 2 weeks worth of videos done as well. So um, it is challenging to definitely keep up with. And also there are other things that do get into my schedule. New little tasks that are popping up that I'm having to do. Um, for instance, at one stage, I went through a YouTube channel change where um, I think the first change I went through was changing the name of the channel. Um, and with that, that included me cleaning up the channel art. And then with that, that also entailed the YouTube thumbnails, changing that. And that was extra work on top of me keeping up with the YouTube channel. Um, and it was, I had to slowly do it so it wouldn't interfere with, the work I was doing at the time. It did slowly interfere with it, unfortunately, but that new work came up, um, and it popped up, and it was just me going through a big change in the way I wanted to do my channel and everything like that. But it popped up, and so much work I needed to do. I wanted to get all my videos kind of changed, but I ended up doing like maybe 5 video thumbnails a night or something. Um, and I slowly did it, and I think I got, um, I think, I did like 50 or something, and then I slowly just moved forward. So each new YouTube video that was coming out was going in this new style. Um, and from there, I'll slowly, you know, get the style out there. These thumbnails, but there are still, videos there that I would like to edit the thumbnails and edit the text and tags. So there's a lot of little things there that I'd really like to do, but um, it is uh, it is hard to do it with a busy schedule. Um, but sometimes when it's slow and when I'm not so busy and not so worried and just kind of painting along and doing these um doing these other little mundane tasks, I go do them. Um, yeah, I go do those editing thumbnails. I think I just edited one today because I found a video in my channel that was alright that I thought, well, needed a new thumbnail image to fix up the kind of promotional side of the video, I guess. So that's what I did, and every now and again I might notice something like that that needs changing. But yeah, if you can kind of clean up your schedule, it allows you to do all those little extra bits in pieces. But it's not, you can't control it all the time, unfortunately. You don't know how long, say, a painting is going to take, how long a character design is going to take, an illustration, a video, a YouTube video, how long it's going to take, sometimes at night, I go to record it about 9:30 or something like that. Um, and sometimes I wait until like quarter to 9 or quarter to 10 or something like that to record it. Um, and usually the finish of my night's about 10. But sometimes I go to record it and it's like nearly 10:30 by the time I finish. And it's just the amount of times I've re-recorded it and um, kind of stuffed up the video that I want to redo it, and these little tweaks that I noticed and these things that I want to change. Sometimes you can't control that. It's the way it is. Yeah. And other nights, I've had coughs and colds, and it's been challenging trying to get the weekly tips done that I try one night and then I'm just coughing, and it's like, no, I give up. I tried for 20-30 minutes trying to get this video and I give up. Then, the next night comes along and it's not too bad. I get it done. You'd say time wasted, but actually for me, I don't feel it is, me trying for 20 minutes, coughing and everything, but, don't get any good video out of it. Um, it kind of gets me into a practice. It's like, oh, well, um, I've got this flaw, but, I've practiced now. Um, it kind of gets everything I need to say out there, and then once I'm feeling better and everything's I can get the video, or I can you know say it all at once. um then it's not really time wasted because I kind of practiced through doing that. um yeah. Yeah, and speeches was an interesting time. We all had to give speeches at school, where we had to kind of pick a topic or subject and then write a speech to talk to your class about this certain topic. And that was always a challenging thing. Um, you know, there was some people were really, really into it and kind of spent every kind of minute kind of practicing their speech and getting it perfect and practicing in front of the mirror and all that stuff. For me, I wrote it on the card, and I think I practiced it like once or twice. You know, um, I definitely read it quite a few times and things, but I didn't practice it enough for me. Um, but yeah, I tried my best in presenting it. The practicing I could have done more for, I think. But yeah, it does, for me, doing the Tuesday streams is good practice for me. It's just me chillaxing and chatting. Sometimes I have topics on my mind that I kind of talk about. Um, Other times I'm quiet, just painting. Um, yeah, sometimes I'm like really tired on Tuesday night, so you might not hear much from me, but you still see me paint and I still turn up. So that's the main thing. I usually just turn up and do these Tuesday streams and just kind of paint. Gives me that time saying, "Oh, I need to paint. This is my thing." Um, yeah. I think that's a good thing too, is having that time where it's like no one can take this time away for you. For instance, like going to your favorite coffee shop or um, going to see the doctor or something like that. No one can take that away or something. That kind of important time. Or make a kind of maybe a learning session or um, you know, that is kind of just as important as seeing a doctor, you know. It's a really important time in your schedule that no one can take away from. Um, that will help you grow over time. If you have it as a learning thing, it helps you grow over time. And I've done that where, you know, I was drawing um, gesture drawings. I was drawing that at like 9:30 every night. Just before I go to bed, I'd be doing that. At the end of my day, doing that. No one can take that away. I was doing that for a wee bit. Um, yeah, and now I'm slowly doing kind of schoolism stuff. So I'm watching some schoolism videos um, every now and again. I'm trying to kind of watch, say like a part which is like 10 minutes or something a night. Um, but that is a hit and miss sometimes. Um, yeah. But I have kind of watched a fair bit of it, of the schoolism classes that I have taken, and it really does help to have that there. Welcome to today. Also, you know, in my lunch hour that I get at work, um, I am drawing from a Andrew Loomis book at the moment. So that's a thing that no one can take away. No one can take away that hour lunch I get. Some days I'm at home, so you know I don't really get that kind of lunch period thing. Although I give myself a lunch period, but I don't usually like draw anything because I'm drawing all day anyway. So, but at work no one can take that away. I'm drawing usually for 30ish, 20ish minutes. And also, I'm slowly reading that book. You know, in my breaks, I'm reading that book slowly. Some days I don't feel like reading it at all. Other days I'm reading two or three, 4 pages or something, and they're quite big pages. They're not small little pages. Some pages have a lot of drawings and a little bit of text. Other pages is a whole page of text. Um, but it's really helpful to read that book because it's given me a little bit more information on some of these things that are really important for artists and illustrators to know. You know, for instance, one thing is like in there they says, you know, if you don't take the time out to learn anatomy, you are really, you know, making your career suffer. You know, that's one of the things he kind of says. He doesn't say it in that way, but yes, if you don't take, you know, your time to learn some anatomy and also perspective was the other thing. You know, taking a couple of hours to learn perspective or a couple of weeks or whatever it takes you to learn perspective, it really does make your work suffer. It's kind of like, um, I guess building a house. If you don't make kind of a good foundation for their house, you're just kind of piling bricks on, you know, a bad surface, so eventually they'll tumble over because, you know, you haven't got a good base to stick them on. Um, Without having a good base there, um, you, you don't have anything to build on. So making sure those essential things like anatomy and perspective are really important. Yeah, you know, and they are definitely. You know, for me, I'm always kind of growing on that. I'm still, you know, learning, but I do try and take my some time out to learn those things. Um, Excuse me if you heard that. Anyway, you know, taking that time out is really kind of important to learn those things. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, this made me kind of painting page 12 here, and you could slowly see me fixing up um, small tweaks here and there. and I've been working on quite a few things around on this page, dealing with the spikes, dealing with the cat's fur, making, I think this one we made him a little bit more fluffy. Um, that is really shrieking, adding all those little details to make it a little bit more lively, I guess. These pages that I'm dealing with now aren't so, I guess, hectic. They don't need a lot more detail, basically. They are just kind of slow fix-ups. Um, they are there, but they're not 100% there, but they're not that bad either. So that's good. I'm starting to get into the last little bits where, yeah, the pages are now not so bad. They are pretty good. They just need their final little details, their little tweaks that um, just polishes them off and makes them look a little bit nicer um, for the book. I've only got a couple more pages though, and I'm really excited about that. So that's always good. Um, but yeah, I don't think I've talked too much about dealing with when you're actually in a busy schedule. But when you're in a busy schedule, again, there's only so much you can do. Um, you know, Trying to make every minute count um, as much as you can is important. Um, you know, in preparing for it, making sure you know those things like perspective um, and anatomy. Knowing all those things, character design. Whatever you might need for the task at hand. Prepare that is part of the preparing. So knowing that is really important for when you get into the thick of it. And when you're actually doing it, when you're in the busy schedule, um, there's only so much you can do too. Just dealing with it head on. I don't think I mean, some shortcuts might be okay. Like uh, maybe using a certain brush to paint, or you know, using a technique that you learned in another at another time, um, or reusing something. I've reused the kiwi fruit in this book quite a bit, and those things, or reusing something that you painted ages ago. Those little things can save you a bit of time sometimes. Um, so there's only so much you can do there. Um, but yeah, just kind of just going with it, keeping on working at it, because you know that time's gonna free up eventually, so you just keep going um, until it slows up. And sometimes it's challenging, especially for me, because I've been a content creator. Um, I constantly have something to do here. I still have to keep up with my weekly tips. I still have to, um, I still have to do the videos and do these streams and chat with artists and um, communicate with other artists to try and get them into my streams. Um, I've got quite a few things there that are basically a ball rolling, and I'm still having to keep up with them and keep them going um constantly. It doesn't ever, like, you'll finish, it goes away. For this book though, it's going to get to a point where it's all the paintings kind of finished. Um, I still have other things to do with the book. For instance, like the title page fix-ups, the back page um, making and stuff like that, um, and all those things. And it's, I know that it's going to be busy in that. I know it's going to be busy in that period of when I actually finish all the illustrations. It's going to be busy for me, putting this book together and everything. Um, so the best I can do for that period when I am, in that period is make sure that I'm on top of everything. So making sure that I have kind of videos there. So I'll probably be doing maybe a couple of 90-minute art challenges, some other paintings, make sure I have kind of know what I'm going to be painting and continuing on this channel, so I'm not spending a week or so deciding what I'm going to paint and getting that painted and how I'm going to go about it and things like that. Um, I've got it all sussed there. Those things I have to do to prepare for that busy period. And then, when I'm actually in that busy period is just, um, making um, everything go as smooth as you can. I think that's all you can do, in a way, as smooth as you can, making sure that all the parts you're working on in the book are going smoothly, or whatever you're working on, the painting, every step goes okay, or good, really good. Um, that's what you need to kind of do in when you're in a busy schedule is make sure every kind of thing is going good. Because if you have, something that fails, at some point in your process or the way or what you're working on. For instance, you're doing your sketch. If you don't get your drawing, your background drawing done properly, um, then it will stumble. You will just be painting on top of it, and you'll be like, "Why isn't it a lot looking good?" Um, so making sure that drawing, that foundation drawing that you are working on is really good. Um, it's a good sketch. It's something that looks good on its own without any color, maybe tone, but other than that, it looks pretty good on its own, as a drawing, as an illustration that you can then add color to. Um, it's not something that's like, oh, this looks good if it's had this color in it, it needs to look good on its own before adding in any color. That's the way I see it anyway. You have to make sure that every step that you are doing goes really good. For instance, like with my weekly tips, knowing that my references gathered and all my references are good. They are good references that I can draw from. Sometimes I've gathered my references and things, and then it's all like, oh, this reference that I found on this certain thing is actually, um, it's very blurry. I can't tell if that's a leg or a foot or nose. So I have to then go and refine that reference or find a reference similar to it that is less blurry and more um, accurate, so I can draw from it. Um, there's always things in that I do that do pop up, and making sure those things are right. If I had pre-hand made sure that all those references were um, good and ready to draw from, then I would have been able to. It wouldn't have cost me that little bit of time to find the better reference. It didn't cost me too much time, but those little things. Um, Same with the drawing thing. I've definitely dealt with that where I'm drawing and I think it's a good drawing, but I start painting it, and then I'm like, oh, why isn't it, looking so bad? And then I have to kind of, in a way, start again. I have to start a certain, whether it's a character or the whole background or something. I have to completely kind of start again on the actual character or something. Um, so there's always those things that pop up, and those mistakes you do make. Some of them you can control. um, Others just pop up. Like if you're in a busy period and you're just gathering references and things like that, you might not notice that the references you are gathering aren't 100% sharp and um, you know, fully accurate to draw from, right at the bat. But if you slow down a little bit, just kind of watch the references you are gathering and make sure that they're good before continuing. It does save you time later on. So doing that little bit of um, maybe a couple more minutes in that less busy time, because usually at the start of the project, for me that's the way I feel about it. Usually the start of the project, really the kind of quiet starting point is where you just kind of slowly gathering things and getting everything sorted so you can fully start the project, start drawing, start referencing, start painting it up, start rendering, all that stuff. Um, so getting those right at the start is the um, a good thing to do. um, but yeah, that's the way you can deal with busy schedules. Yeah, if anyone does, have any little tips that have gotten them through busy periods and busy times, busy schedules, um, or how they deal with their busy schedule, let me know down in the comments. I'll be really interested to, know how everyone else, deals with their kind of busy schedule. Um, For me, I definitely feel like I have a very busy schedule. And I constantly am learning from it, whether it's on my own from just having, new things pop up that I need to do, and um, even busy schedules and things like that, that I learn from it. Or, sometimes looking up other YouTubers that talk about their schedules, and other artists and illustrators and everyone that just talks about their schedules, how they um, deal with getting stuff done. That's always helpful tips out there. So, this has been my kind of advice on um, preparing and dealing with busy schedules. So hopefully it has helped you. I've been painting page 12 while I've been talking about this. Yeah, so hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks a lot. Keep drawing, keep creating, and see you in the next video.